episode 105. My name is Dave Hunt, and I'm joined by Michael Swick.
Dave, do you feel it? We're in November. We're in peak gaming time. The games are coming out.
I had to put a coat on, like a real coat on, to go outside this week.
We got to start the show with the weather update. Yeah, it's gotten cold. But we're hitting a point where like video games are coming out like 3 times a week now. It's like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We're getting a bunch of stuff coming out. Getting a little overwhelmed with the amount of stuff because I'm trying to like split my time between work and
like we were just talking about too. Like the crazy part is there's stuff coming out, but it just feels like it's all very just flat. Like it's like nothing's like looking like it's going to be super great. Nothing looking like it's going to be super terrible. Something like, as an example, like and I'm not digging on it, but like Guardians of the Galaxy is out. It's looking like it's getting good reviews, like it's hovering around 8s or 8.5s. Like people are talking about it. They're talking about the banter between the characters and there's the whole like this shows that a single player game is viable. Like that's all existing. And I want to play it, but nobody has said, like, I have not seen, read, or watched anything that's like, I got to play that right now. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely the most I've seen, like, I'm going to play it this week. Gamefly just took a while to get it. But it is one of those things where I think people were expecting the worst, and it turned out to be fine. And most of the praise is, hey, it didn't turn out bad. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have staying power or anything.
Yeah, no, I don't expect a single-player game to have staying power or anything like that, but it's just kind of one of those things where when certain games come out, like I feel like in the last 6 or 7 months, maybe other than Ratchet, and Ratchet is like borderline like right there where like I felt like I had to play and complete this game within 2 weeks because I didn't want somebody to spoil it for me. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't have that feeling about anything coming out from any platform the last 6 months or the next 3 or 4 months in advance.
Well, usually what I end up doing, because I listen to a lot of video game podcasts. I know you're mostly sports stuff, but how I usually go through games.
Well, you also spend more time in transit than I do.
So I usually figure out what games are actually like hitting or like going to be game of the year contenders based on how often podcasts talk about a game after it's been released. And realistically, Ratchet had like a 2-week window where podcasts will talk about it for a couple weeks after launch.
But it's just one of those things where they play it and they're done and they move on. It's great. It was fantastic. I loved it. The characters were great. The gunplay was fun. But they platinum it or they do whatever they do to it or however people complete their game and they put it on the shelf.
Yeah, the only game that I can think of that has had some of that thing where it's been like 3 weeks since launch is like Metroid. Mm-hmm. But that's just because of the type of game it is.
And that's near the end right now. We're not even like a month out.
Yeah.
Like we're getting to the point like right now we're a month out.
The true test is going to be like in 2 weeks. Are people still talking about Metroid?
Yeah. Or like what you usually see, at least from and you and I don't get this perspective. You start to see it's not as prevalent as it used to be in the gaming industry, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just because it's kind of the way the industry has changed. But you used to see a lot of the holiday break games. Mm-hmm. Like studios or companies would stop, as like IGN or even I think GameSpot or Giant Bomb did this too, where they kind of like step away for a couple weeks, like during the holidays, or they step away for like a week during Thanksgiving, and then they also step away for like 1 or 2 weeks during Christmas, and that's when like a lot of people go home or they go back and see their family, or they just kind of like just take their break from work. And this is when they catch up on games that they haven't had a chance to play or they weren't playing for review. Yeah. So this time of year is where you start to see a spike. Like you're compiling a list essentially for both of us of things that we need to look at, that we need to try to at least start putting a couple hours into before the end of the year so that we can have a worthwhile discussion on the games that came out in 2021. But I'll be curious if we see a spike in the Ratchet conversation from maybe like an Xbox focused gaming journalist that's on holiday break, and he's like, you know what, I don't have anything assigned right now. I'm gonna play Ratchet because he couldn't before because he was always working on something. He or she was working on something assigned to them. Yeah.
They get that time off. Usually Thanksgiving is when people can catch up in the media of just like, okay, especially media people tend to be a little spoiled or at least treated properly where they get like a week off for Thanksgiving as opposed to retail, which is like, you get Thursday off. So we definitely see some of that where like December 1st is usually when we hear about some old games being talked about. Like right now, like the game I focused on came out in July. The game we'll talk about later.
I think we'll see an uptick in the Returnal conversation again at the end of this year, just because people are getting a chance to play it. There's been a couple more patches. There's been some quality of life stuff to it, to where people are like, hey, you know what? I can probably check it out because it looks like it has some kind of save functionality.
Yeah, they added a suspend state. So
so like those are things that some people were staying away from. But I think that you'll see an uptick in that conversation again, as well as, other stuff that, came out. Like, it'll be fascinating when we make our year in review or our look back show for this year of wow, that came out this year. Like, we were just talking about that game that's on sale, and you're like, I don't think that came out this year. And you're like, you type it up like, oh shit, it did.
Yeah. People forget Hitman 3 came out this year, and that was in January. And that was one of those, even though it came out in January, people were like, this game has staying power. This is a game of the year contender. And most people, when they bring up Hitman 3, are like, oh shit, that came out this year? So it definitely is a thing. And that's one of the games on my list that I need to check out before the end of the year. The reverse
of that's going to be, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but any praise that Halo would or wouldn't get is going to lie flat because it's not going to be even a nominee for the Game Awards because of when it comes out.
Yeah, you would have to hope what is going to happen with Halo is they'll send it out to media outlets early enough for it to be in a consideration, because I think Microsoft can't afford it not to be in a consideration, even if it doesn't win anything. But if it's not even in the discussions,
so if the word Halo Infinite doesn't come out at all out of anybody's mouth during the Game Awards, like that's unfortunate. It's their own fault. But like that's just an unfortunate situation because it won't be in the 2021 conversation because of the release date, and it won't be in the 2022 conversation because it came out in 2021.
Yeah, I think we're going to either hear about Microsoft flying people out and doing like the old school, like, hey, we got a bunch of people together to play multiplayer, or they're going to just make sure the single player stuff is in hands as soon as possible and just let the multiplayer stick around. Because multiplayer doesn't really matter in terms of like game of the year discussion.
Because it's free to play also.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of them just like making sure that single player campaign gets enough people's hands that are influencers or media, just so it can at least hang in the conversation before it like goes away and then is focused on multiplayer.
Yep. All right. So I missed this part, but we are Digital Days Gaming. We are a weekly show that is officially over 2 years old at the time of this recording. 105 episodes is obviously more than, 104, which is 2 full years of 52 weeks a year. So we turn to November 1st, and we release every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time on podcast services of your choice, as well as we stream on Twitch, typically Tuesday nights around 5:30, 6 o'clock, twitch.tv/digitaldaysgaming. There is a couple links in the show notes that you can check out. You can join the Facebook group and the Discord server. We're a Twitch affiliate, so you can actually sub to us if you'd like to do that, whether that's using Twitch Prime or just a direct sub. Then there also we have a Teesprings account. So if maybe somebody's asking you what you want for Christmas, and you can be like, hey, this is a podcast that I like to listen to in a community that I'm part of. You maybe get me a hoodie and send them the link. That'd help us out as well. But other than that, we're going to get into some news, and we got some pretty cool discussion points coming up.
Yeah, the first one got people more excited than I thought they were going to get, at least at first, and then people actually like read the details. But Sega and Microsoft are teaming up for some cloud-based gaming. So this is a partnership that Sega announced that they are going to make a super game, is how they're touting it, using Microsoft Azure cloud technology. This lines up with Sega's what they call their mid to long-term plans. Earlier this year, they mentioned a super project that they say will need about 5 years to actually be done. But the details now are, the reason it's going to take 5 years is because they're messing with new technology. They're messing with finding a way to get the Azure cloud computing, cloud technology integrated into their games. And it sounds like they're working on like a super game, but this sounds like if this goes well, this is how they will be producing several of their games. During this, people got really excited about this, but this is the same deal that Sony announced with Microsoft last year, I think. I want to say Sony and Microsoft announced that they had a partnership to use the cloud technology that Microsoft is famous for. I know Dave gets frustrated with news like this, but this is one of those things where it catches headlines when it really shouldn't, because this is back-end stuff. But I figure it's worth mentioning.
Hey, we're a video game developer that partnered with a publisher, and we're going to make a game.
Yeah, like we no, but it's not even partnered with. It's like we partnered with a technology company to use technology to produce our game. But like this was making headlines, and it's cool because like this is the future of where things are going. Cloud computing is going to be where everything goes. So it's fascinating to see Sega like jumping in on this, because I can't think of any Sega properties that would really need some cloud technology with it. But at least it shows that Sega is at least trying some stuff potentially.
At this point in time, I'd rather know what games are getting dated and coming out in the next 12 months versus one that's coming out in 2027.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is with this too is like because it's they're trying some experimentation. There's not a guarantee that will see the light of day. Like they could put 2-3 years into this and be like, you know what, it's not ready, and then just cancel it,
or it doesn't work. Yeah. But it's just like, okay, it's cool sounding, but you know, and then Microsoft again this is Microsoft being a software corporation, like 100%. This is them being a software corporation, and they have a software that a game developer wants to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this, this is good for.
I don't think this will be exclusive. Like, I don't think this will be exclusive to Microsoft.
No, unless Microsoft plans to just give them money, because it sounds like from other rumblings from other stories, specifically with Kojima, is they are pitching Kojima use exclusively our cloud technology and figure everything out to where they're trying to build things up so Kojima can go crazy with new technology, which is something he loves, which is why Microsoft is trying to sign deals, because they're trying to work out the kinks before they put like all their money into a Kojima production.
Well, they're trying to see, or even a Sega production for that matter. They're trying to see like if it's gonna work. Like I think I saw it launch today or soft launch today. Like Netflix games are like is like a thing today. I haven't heard how it works or read anything to it, but if that has any kind of sustainability of just, I don't even care if the games are trash, but like, does it work?
Yeah, does it work? How are you interfacing? Like, for the most part, it's just 5 mobile games that just have a tab on the Netflix thing. Yep. But could that lead to something potentially? Netflix feels so they hired a studio, or like they acquired one.
The counterpoint to that, the concern is like when we had the Nintendo expansion pass come out last week with all the N64 and Sega games, the only thing that I saw, we didn't talk about it last week at all, I don't think, but the thing that I saw all over my social feed was Zelda Ocarina of Time being laggy as hell. And
they removed the fog, which is very important to a game like that used the fog to cover up the lack of art or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like those little things, if you can't get those things worked out, then, you know, like Nintendo's not using a cloud technology to my understanding, but they're using some kind of downloadable technology, obviously.
They're using an emulator that they just didn't put the work into to get it working properly.
It's like, yikes. You know, it just raises concerns and it raises red flags of like, maybe, you know, like we're not ready. Like, and I'm one of these people. Like, I love technology, but there's new technology at my store, at my company, or new technology at home. All these little things that, you know, like small little things that make your quality of life easier. I love, but they have to work.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad Sega earlier this year said like they're working on something special, but don't expect to see it for 5 years. And the only reason they have to they only share that in their financial reports, which, you know, those people need to know, the investors need to know. It just comes to, you know, the gaming realm of just like, oh, Sega will have a game released in 5 years. It's like, no. They're working on something that they think will take 5 years to potentially work on, to complete.
Right.
But they could just kill it, and then it just turns into a learning experience for Sega and a learning experience for Microsoft. Mm-hmm. But Microsoft gets paid either way, most likely.
Yep.
The next one is into rumor land, but there were so many leaks from this damn thing, it was worth putting in here. Warner Brothers is making a Smash Brothers clone called the Multiverse. This originated on a Reset era post, detailing that Warner Brothers is making a Smash Brothers clone that's going to be free to play with paid DLC characters. The initial report said that NetherRealm was working on it, but Jeff Grubb and other outlets confirmed that was not the case. They don't know who's working on it. It just seems like it's an internal Warner Brothers studio, but they're not wasting NetherRealm's time with this horrifying sounding game. Because oh my god, does this sound crazy? It's a platform fighter, so it's Smash Brothers, Nickelodeon All Stars, and it's been in development for a couple years. So this isn't them reacting to the Nickelodeon All Stars thing. This sounds like this has been in development for like 2 to 3 years. But the roster includes DC characters, Cartoon Network characters, Adult Swim characters, and Lord of the Rings characters. Some of the examples are Steven Universe, Batman, Harley Quinn, Finn and Jake for Adventure Time, Shaggy. It sounds like the whole game was...
Yeah, that's what we want to have our kids, our 12 and 13-year-old kids play, is Shaggy kicking the crap out of Harley Quinn.
Yeah. But so this is all coming from the Shaggy memes from last year or 2 years ago, where like Shaggy's like a god type shit. I don't know if your Facebook's different than my Facebook, so you might have missed a good chunk of the Shaggy god based Shaggy.
You must play into the algorithm more than I do.
No, I have friends that just spend a lot of time memeing. So this sounds like this whole thing has been built around Shaggy. But yeah, it's Superman, Rick and Morty, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, fucking Gandalf is gonna be in this, and there's been art.
Yeah, because I want Rick and Morty beating up, Superman. Like that's just like...
I want a video game with Gandalf punching Steven Universe. Like what? This thing sounds wild. And then the thing that was crazy that was reported is
Space Jam.
Yeah, is LeBron James as the first DLC character potentially.
Is like LeBron gonna fight Lola?
Potentially, it can happen in a multiverse. So this sounds like since it's been
are they gonna put speaking of, are they gonna put LG Rhythm in the game too?
No, that is very possible, because I think they started development on this with Space Jam 2, and Space Jam 2 is all built around like, oh, look at all these IPs in this one world and this lifeless piece of shit movie, and they just are gonna do that with a game, which oh my god.
Wasn't that bad.
Space Jam 2 was an abomination trash movie. You just I don't know.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it wasn't that bad.
No, it was a fucking terrible movie.
Jeez.
Like,
okay.
You liked Ready Player One. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my! I like the book better than the movie.
No, it was bad. It was bad. All of it's bad.
Have you watched Buffy this year, sir?
No, I haven't yet. But Buffy's actually good. Unlike fucking Space Jam 2 and Ready Player One.
I didn't say it was good. I just said it wasn't that bad.
No. There's only one opinion you can have on Space Jam 2, and it was trash.
Gosh.
And it needs to be thrown in the bin. But yeah, this sounds horrible. I think another leak said Arya from Game of Thrones is in it. Based on how crazy stupid Space Jam 2 was, where you had like Mad Max and Clockwork Orange characters, rated R characters in this kids movie just in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do this to where, how do you sell this? Like,
who's your market?
Yeah. Like people into fighters.
You can't, it's not going to be a hardcore fighter. It's not going to be a Street Fighter or even like a Power Rangers Battle for the Grid style fighter. It's not going to be that.
Yeah.
And nobody can be Smash. We've already seen people try and fail.
Yeah.
And then, I feel like the happy medium, I guess, is like Brawlhalla with like the way, and they're almost like I'm just saying, at least like from a free to play, like, bringing different characters in, but like it's not super high tech. Like, I mean, in terms of like, it's almost, I haven't played it much myself at all, but almost large sprite driven. Kind of
like Brawlhalla, I feel like is only successful because enough money was thrown at it. Because I feel like most of my friends that are into Smash, could not get into Brawlhalla. But it's like a distraction. And Nickelodeon All Stars being somewhat successful.
Mm-hmm. I don't feel like it's getting any traction, at least, but I could be wrong. Like, I'm not in that world or that community.
It's getting enough, but it's getting the type of attention of just like, oh, this is basically kind of what we were talking about with Guardians, where it's like, oh, this is better than we thought, but in reality, it's like, it's okay. To where, but even then, like the stakes for Nickelodeon All Stars was so low, like you can tell they were on a low budget. There's no voice acting in the game. There's barely any music from the licensed properties, but then when you do this, and then it's just like.
But in the competitive scene, Brawlhalla does okay.
Yeah, it does fine enough. With Ubisoft backing it. But then you know, you look at the characters that are in the Nickelodeon All-Stars, it's very low stakes for Nickelodeon in terms of just like, hey, here's some of our characters from the generations. But then when you go to like a multiverse Warner Brothers games and you're talking about they're really going to use Batman, and in this they're going to use Gandalf, like how does Amazon feel about that with their Lord of the Rings show being made? Are you really going to reach out to LeBron James and is just like, hey, Space Jam 2, people really liked your acting in that. Do you want to be in a video game? Like, what does he even look like at that point in this game?
Yeah.
But then you put
Can you
like
make a hairline just recede while you play?
I hope he has infinite headbands he could just whip off and throw at people. Like that would be fantastic.
I can say that, by the way, if anybody gets mad. If you've never seen me before, I have a severely receding hairline, okay?
No, it's not receding. It has
Yes.
But, like, I just don't know what you do. Like, if like, Rick and Morty's in this, like, do you want your little kid to play, like, because Tom and Jerry's in this?
What am I going to sit, like, okay, so I've got the choice as a dad of a 6-year-old, okay? I've got the choice of Nickelodeon. What's it called? Nickelodeon?
All-Stars Brawl, I think.
Yeah, so I got the choice of Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, Brawlhalla, Smash Brothers, and this.
Yeah, even though it's free to play, I don't know if...
What am I... the first option is going to be Smash.
Yeah.
Like I've already talked about like them doing some type of ultimate bundle for that has to happen soon. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. And then I guess the next option would probably be Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. Just because there might be characters on there that he recognizes, because he'll recognize a few on Smash just because of playing Nintendo games with me, and then in order of importance would be then Nickelodeon and then Brawlhalla. Again, small character recognition in there, but he's not gonna. He knows who Batman is, but he's not gonna know who Gandalf is. Yeah. He's not gonna know who anybody from Game of Thrones is. He's not gonna know any of that stuff.
Yeah. And then they might pique the little kid's interest.
Put the John Cena character in there, from the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Peacemaker.
Like, yeah.
But then also you have to worry about, like, the whole reason you do something like this is to have someone's interest get piqued into trying out, like, oh, I really like playing against or as Steven Universe. Let me check out the Steven Universe show.
Yeah.
What do you do with the little kid who's just like, oh, who's Arya? It's from Game of Thrones. Can I watch it? No. I don't know. This is weird. I think this will come out and it'll be like a weird thing people look at. But and the thing is, like, with the roster, a lot of people are like, oh, the roster has to be fake. Someone posted the character select screen on Twitter, and Warner Brothers IP like copyright, they did their copyright strike and like removed it from Twitter. So that shows you that that roster is pretty much confirmed if Warner Brothers is going to go out there and be like, no, get rid of this. So
that's crazy. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so if you look at the original tweet from Hungry Box, who's like a Smash Brothers player, he had posted an image of the character select screen, and Warner Brothers did a copyright claim. So now the tweet just has an empty picture. So it's like, this is probably more real than... we think it is, potentially, but yeah, I don't know. This sounds like a bad idea.
I guess the only chance you get to have any kind of leverage is like we talked about, like between now and the end of the year, the Video Game Awards, like you announce it on the Video Game Awards and it's available to download that night and it's free to play, and you like put some type of codes on the screen for Video Game Awards for a character or two, and just pray to God that your game functions well and people like how it is mechanically. That's it. That's the only chance you got.
Yeah. Like, maybe you'll get people interested when you start releasing characters that make no sense. Like, you know, you release LeBron James.
Yeah, but at what cost, though? Like, how much does LeBron cost? 12? 15?
No,
10?
Yeah, like, what is it?
Like, what do you charge for that? Like, if the game does not have any community, I don't care what you charge for it. Like, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
If there's really no single-player thing for me to sign on and check it out and do it by myself, like, we don't know enough about the game, but I'm just saying, like, you know, the only... The only game that I can recall recently, like, came out of nowhere and did well, like, and really, really well, is Apex.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Of like, okay, we know this is a thing. Like a week or two before it comes out, oh, it's out, and it works well, and it functions, and it has a player base, and people want to play it.
Yeah, like I just don't. see how this becomes successful. They would have to get super weird in a DLC and hope that's enough to get people to.
And that
jump
also
on
sounds
board.
like a pain in the ass to balance. Like, I'm sorry, like a free to play game. I mean, I know, like, as an example, we just talked about Apex, where you can pay for other heroes, but like, what happens if LeBron is just like, if it feels like pay to win, like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. When Fortnite released like a couple guns, and then they had to deactivate the guns for a weekend to like rebalance them. Like, how do you manage that when it's like, oh shit, LeBron's broken, or
Gandalf's staff just kills everybody.
Yeah,
It's like,
but like, how weird.
It's a balancing nightmare.
I really think the only way this would be successful is they just have to get crazy with it. Like, be like, oh hey, here's Keanu from The Matrix. And then here's.
But then when you get crazy with it, people think the game feels unfair.
Yeah, I mean, when they add Free Willy as DLC, like that is when you're gonna know.
A
like,
finishing move of him jumping over the rocks.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
landing on
Just
you.
every time. It's actually just that you control a little kid directing the whale. Like, you don't actually control Willy.
Oh my god!
It's just someone like picking him. Yeah, I don't know. Like, can you get the rights to like Clint Eastwood and have like Dirty Harry just with a gun shooting people up?
Which Batman do you get? Adam West, Michael Keaton.
That's 7 different DLC characters.
Yeah,
so
like, jeez.
It turns into the Dragon Ball Z game, where that did really well, but after like their 10th DLC character, it's like, here's another Goku, and people were like, stop giving us Gokus. Like, do they just do that with Batman? It's like, oh, here's Batman. Yeah, here's Batman again. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man,
this sounds weird. I'm kind of here for it just to see this happen.
Michael's like, I'm gonna totally play this no matter what.
I mean, free to play download, but free to play almost makes me think it's going to be a mobile game, which then means this is all irrelevant. you know, but if this is because that means they just don't.
We're gonna release it on phones and Switch.
Yeah, something weird like that, and it's only gonna have touch controls on Switch or something stupid. All right, we'll move on to the next one. Amy Hennig is working on a Marvel game. So Amy Hennig earlier last year announced she was making a new studio called Skydance New Media. I thought when they made this announcement, they said they were going for smaller experience games just because she wanted to stay away from getting stuck in like these long processes.
Cash money, buddy.
Yeah.
Cash money.
Yeah. So Amy Hennig will be joined by her ragtag team co-writer, Todd.
Straight cash, homie.
Todd Stashwick, and they are going to be working on a Marvel game. No indication on which Marvel character, but Marvel is just kind of, I mean, it's Disney just doing it with, they're doing it with Star Wars as well, where it's like, you have a pitch, you can pitch it to Marvel, and there's a chance they're going to say yes. But Amy Hennig's got a good track record for writing, not the best track record of getting things out the door post Naughty Dog. So,
what did she do before Uncharted?
She's been at Naughty Dog for Legacy of Kain, I want to say. So Square Enix.
Okay. Because I feel like, and I love the writing job. Obviously, I love the writing job she did with the Uncharted franchise. My understanding is that 4 was pretty much completely kind of rewritten. I believe I'd have to double check my thoughts on that, or my facts.
Yeah,
on that.
so I believe it was 3. The control was taken away towards the end of 3, which makes sense because 3 is like the most uneven one, and then 4 was completely like restarted.
So, and again, I don't mean this in a negative way, but the last piece of content that she wrote that actually turned into a video game is over 10 years old.
Yeah, because so she helped write Battlefield Hardline for EA, which
did she try to Control-Alt-Delete that off her resume?
Apparently not, because it's still on Wikipedia. And then she's also a writer on Forspoken, which is coming out. Okay. So she does do writing still, but she hasn't been like the director of a game since Uncharted 3. But writing, she still does game writing. And then, of course, she was like a director for like Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2, Jack 3 before that. But yeah, as a director, it's been over 10 years since she's got a game out the door, because she had the 2 Star Wars games canceled, 1 Star Wars game canceled. I forget exactly how many were canceled at EA.
I feel like this is like a head coach that's been retired for 10 years that a team brings in to put a face to make it sound like they're doing something really cool.
I mean, this could definitely be because there's a co-writer.
Mm-hmm.
They needed a name to help, with the pitch. And if you put Amy Hennig out there with a resume, that's probably enough to get greenlit.
I'm just tired. I'm tired. Like I said last week, I'm tired of hearing about, hey, we made a studio. We hired a writer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
the only thing I can think of is because it's a Marvel property, this is something we will see, as opposed to being like,
or a Star Wars property.
It's not an EA. Because they made that game, to a point.
I know. It's just like,
yeah.
It's just okay, cool. All right. So, what would you want to see at this point in time? I guess because Wolverine's with Insomniac, Spider-Man's with Insomniac, Guardians is with Square. Me personally, if you really want to know what I would love to see in terms of a game, maybe even a single player linear style game, I would love to see the world of with Thor and Asgard pushed out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
So I think that would be fun with God of War style gameplay, in terms of your hammer and stuff.
Yeah. What I think I would see, if they want to still stick with the smaller experiences, I would love to see a Squirrel Girl or maybe a She-Hulk thing, because I feel like you can do something like that smaller scale, especially with her being a good writer. She-Hulk doing court drama and action would be...
I think that would require some Disney Plus planning as well to go with it.
Yeah, because Disney, though, definitely very much seems like, hey, here's the IPs you can use. Also, here's our list of TV shows and movies that are coming out, so if you can either get close to one of these, that's what I can see. Squirrel Girl would be really entertaining. I feel like you could do a small game with her. That would be low stakes.
But do you really think that, I guess if Marvel's giving permission to do stuff, do you think that they're giving them permission to do a small scale game, or do you think that they want to see showcase style pieces?
I think they would take either or, just to experiment with which IPs are worth maybe turning into movie properties, because they tried doing a Squirrel Girl TV show, but they could never get it off the ground.
Okay.
And I think they couldn't get off the ground because they're like, oh, is it really something that people are going to want to go to the movie theaters to go see, or actually invest in a tens of millions of dollar TV show? And then if they look at I know video games aren't cheap, but I can see them using some of these smaller studios to work with their more experimental stuff they would love to bring into the movie universe. Miss Marvel, I think, proved in the Avengers that I think people would be into a Miss Marvel game. Kamala.
I agree, but I don't think that you could have titled that game Miss Marvel.
I mean, after, it depends. The Marvel's movie is coming out, which she will be featured in, with Captain Marvel, might give her enough for name recognition that you could just release a Miss Marvel game. But I would love to see just some smaller heroes get put on there. And I also don't think Marvel Disney would give a new studio a gigantic IP at this point. I don't see them being okay, you haven't directed a game in 10 years, the studio's only 2 years old, here's Deadpool, or here's the X-Men. I think it would end up being one of those things where they just bust out a smaller hero, and it's okay, we might bring this hero into the MCU in the future, so let's just see if people care at a video game level. I, as a Marvel person, I'm just excited just to see Marvel just letting people go to town.
I 100% agree. And I've been sitting here banging the table for new innovative IPs. This is a way to do that using a and it's still a new IP to me. If there hasn't been a Squirrel Girl video game, then that's a new intellectual property to me. Using something else is okay. It's something we're seeing on a console or a PC platform that we've never seen before. That's what I want. I'm just tired of hearing about it so soon.
I know.
I'm so tired.
It just sucks though, because
we heard about the Indiana Jones game, and now we haven't heard anything about it. And we've heard about this other, the Ubisoft working on the Avatar game. We saw it at the Ubisoft Forward 6 months ago. Haven't heard anything else about it. It's just that's the part that sucks about missing a lot of these in-person events that are going on, whether it was with us previous regimes or now, is I might have, at this point in time, I might have gotten to even like play the first 10 minutes of Avatar.
Yeah, there'd have been a chance there would have been at least a presentation to give you a better idea.
Or me watching somebody play it. And it's just like, and to build some of the excitement, and it just sucks right now. And I think that without that pressure, like the digital events aren't as pressure filled. Like, yeah, at post event, they're pressure filled, but they're not going to be like, hey, we can't really show this to 100 or 200 media people for 3 days and not have an idea about release date. Like, we're going to get peppered with release dates. And now when it's a digital event, they're like, whatever, just put it out there and we'll get some shit for it for like 3 days on the internet and then it'll just go away, which is exactly what happens.
No, it's exactly what happens. And also doesn't help that like we're more in tune to financial calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Before.
Well, yeah, you don't have it in your what's delayed, but like today, like I was waiting for you to get online after I delayed a recording a little bit, and sure enough, like an Activision Blizzard call, like, oh, Diablo's delayed and Overwatch is delayed.
Yeah, it just
it's like it just kind of just comes out as like a headline like that, and it's one of the things where they pick it from the guy talking about, oh, we have a goal of 2022, but it'll probably be 2023. You know, like. Well, and that's all. Like, it's one line in a conference call,
which sometimes are meaningless. Like, they can't be because of FCC regulations, but sometimes they're just meaningless things they just throw out there because they know the investors aren't paying that much attention to it. So they'll throw away, like, they'll answer a question with very vaguely for an investor, but then someone in the media picks up on it and they're like, oh, this is definitive. And it's just like, no, that was just a throwaway line to get the investor to shut the fuck up. Like, right. Which is funny because I've listened to a couple of these like financial calls, and the way they just like breeze through stuff, especially when there's something that they don't want to talk about. Like when they delay a game, they'll just like...
Yeah, they're like blah, 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 coming out later than expected, anticipated, and the next game is blah, 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 and it's coming out on schedule. It's like, whoa, back up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then that PR person has to wait by their email because like they're going to get a ton of like media inquiries about like, hey, we just listened to that, and the CEO just like casually just delayed that game for 5 years or something. Like that happens way too much. But that's the world we live in, where this stuff's going to just get announced right away. And it sucks because how amazing would it be if we just got a trailer that says, like, from Amy Hennig, and then it just, like, released, like...
The surprise is gone, man. Yeah. Like, the surprise and the intrigue is gone. Yeah. Like,
so now when we see the Skydance Media or New Media logo, we'll know it's a Marvel game.
The crazy part is now the thing I'm most wondering at the end of a trailer now, there's two things I'm most wondering when I see a brand new trailer at the end of it. Is it going to have a date? And I'm going to get so much hate for this next one, but is it coming to Game Pass?
Yeah, like that. It's almost a guarantee.
Those are the two things that show up at the end of a trailer usually.
Well, basically, if it doesn't start with the PlayStation Studios logo, it's coming to Game Pass for the most part. Which is funny. Like, I guarantee during the Game Awards...
Oh, God.
We're going to see the Xbox logo so many fucking times. People are going to think they're bought by Microsoft, and it's just going to be like, no, it's just Microsoft has $1 billion.
It's the next event when they're ready to go. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. Like, why would Microsoft do a digital event when they could just use the Keighley Awards and you know, that more people are going to watch them, you know, like, it's, yeah. I'd be shocked if Sony has something cool at the Game Awards because that's just not their jam.
Yeah, they usually, I mean, they showed The Last of Us once or twice at the Game Awards.
A picture of a bug.
Yeah, but they'll show something. It's just not going to be...
Yeah, okay, I agree. If we get anything at the Game Awards, it will be The Last of Us remake. That'd be it from Sony.
Yeah, or Factions, if that's just the thing.
Well, yeah, Last of Us stuff.
We'll see something from Sony at the Game Awards, but it'll be one thing. Microsoft is going to hit us with like 5 or 10 things, and then Nintendo will do their one thing that they usually do. Though now that they don't have Smash Brother characters to talk about, I don't know what that one thing will be. Because that's almost been a guarantee the last like 4 years, because you'll get a Smash Brothers reveal.
Jeff Keighley in Smash.
That would be fun. He's in Among Us, so it makes sense. There was a State of Play last week. So speaking of Sony, this State of Play felt like it probably could have waited. Could have been cooked in the oven just a little longer. There was some cool things shown in here, but nothing like mind-blowing. I mean, for me, there's a Let It Die sequel, which I was not expecting to see.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's what it was either. I remember you really liked that game.
Yeah, that was an interesting, like, free-to-play.
That was the floor game, right? Like, going 100 floors?
Yeah, you have to go up the floors. Yeah. It's, like, super, like, over like the top.
Horde.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it had the horror vibe, but it was very much a comedic...
Right, but it
element.
was a horror and a horde style thing, right? Things running at you as you were clearing floors.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a ton of creatures, but it was just
Right.
it was like almost like mini bosses through each floor.
Yeah.
And then you could pay money to go up the elevator faster. It was a weird game. But the fact that it's getting like a kind of sequel, spiritual successor, was something I was not expecting.
It looked very battle royale-ish to me.
Yeah, because it is a multiplayer focused game again. So I was surprised to see that at the State of Play. There was an indie pop episodic thing that's coming out.
Team OMF or something? Or?
Yeah, OFK. We are OFK.
OFK, sorry.
There's a free update coming for Bugsnax next year. The fucking Five Nights at Freddy got another trailer. It's just not our jam. Yeah. So, Death's Door, which was doing really well on Xbox and PC during the summer, that's coming.
I do want to check that out, and then I'm also hearing that it's going to get some really cool haptic feedback support on PlayStation. So I might actually wait until it comes out on PlayStation to play it.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's this seems like it would be a perfect Switch game, so it is coming to the Switch. So I might pick it up there and hope they do some HD rumble effects with it. We got another kart racer. There seems to be a lot of kart racers coming out. Like there's that Final Fantasy one. There's this one.
How did these people get away with just essentially let's copy and pasting Mario Kart? I don't get it.
Dude, I don't know. King of Fighters, open beta, First Class Trouble, which I believe is coming to PlayStation Plus as of today.
Yeah.
The Star Ocean thing was probably the biggest main
that
thing.
Looked really cool. I was actually surprised by that. That actually, as they kept showing more stuff, I was like, this looks interesting. This looks cool. Yeah. These types of games I love. I was talking to my wife about this. I was actually in the car with her. She was driving. I had to get I had my transmission blew on my car. So that's part of the reason why what's playing won't be that long this week. As usual, there's always something in the way. But it was one of those games where I was like, I tend to stay away from those games, like Tales of Symphonia style, these long RPG style games, because of how much time sink that they can take. And I need to stop trying to do that, and I need to play a game that I enjoy. This looks like something that I might enjoy. Yeah, this looked great. I think this was probably the best thing that they showed, because the last thing they showed was the Little Devil Inside, which is the thing. I think we were just talking about this a couple weeks ago. Of like, what happened to that weird game that we saw at the State of Play a year ago? This looked pretty good, but I really think the Star Ocean thing was the star of the show. Yeah. Because it was kind of a lackluster State of Play where I feel like they just did it because they feel they need to. And yeah, I saw somebody on Twitter, I don't remember who it was, put out a tweet that essentially said the wording around this was poor. So Sony had come out and said this is a very heavily third-party focus, which it was, but we need to find a better term for not first-party, not Ubisoft, Activision, EA game, but the mid-tier developer. Yeah, that doesn't sound insulting. I don't want to call them indies anymore, because some of these games are fantastic. Death's Door, I'm hearing, is fantastic. I don't really consider some of these developers to be indie anymore, just because, and it's a half joke but half serious. But if you can consider these companies to be indie, Bungie's an indie. Yeah, and like, and they're not. And AA is insulting. Yes. It just so there needs to be something else, like for these third-party studios that that aren't like exclusive or exclusives, like whatever. There needs to be some other term, and I don't know what to call it. I'm not sitting there but we can't call it indie anymore, because you've already pigeonholed that game, that and genre. And also Square Enix is in this press thing. So you've made that indie genre that it shoves into there, where even over time games have gone outside of the indie genre. Like, do you consider Drinkbox Studio to be an indie genre gaming company? I don't anymore. Yeah. Like Guacamelee 2, Nobody Saves the World, all look fantastic. They all look top tier. The developers of Limbo and, like all of these things, the developers of Ori, now that they're owned by Microsoft or whatever. But, like all this stuff, like these studios don't fit into that indie hole anymore. They don't really fit into the, like we talked about, into like the Ubisoft or Bungie or EA. It's not Apex. It's not Destiny. It's not Division, it's not blah 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 blah, Overwatch, all that stuff. and it's not exclusive. You know what I'm saying? Like it just there's this box, and I don't know what to call it.
Well, like Nintendo's figured out a nice way for this. Like they have their Nindies, and when they say that, you kind of have an idea of what scale game you're getting, which Guacamelee would fit into that scale, and I believe they have before our Drinkbox with Nintendo specifically. But at least you know the scale of game you're going to get from Drinkbox if they're included in the Nindies. Or the indie world.
It's the same thing. Like, how do you classify the Hades and Bastion developer, Supergiant?
They're super independent, though. They're indie.
I know they are.
They just make a high quality enough game that it makes you question.
I'm saying, if you're playing, like, I'm playing this great Hades. Like, Hades is this great indie of the year, and people are like, that's not. I don't consider that to be an indie.
Yeah.
Like just because, like, it's weird. It's I'm not. I don't have the fix, but I'm just telling you, it's weird that when they released the blog post that said third party, people were thinking
Final Fantasy 16,
AAA third party.
There's got to be a way to do this, and this is definitely a problem with Xbox, where Xbox has the problem where they did their indie thing, and it was like 3 hours of stuff.
It was too much.
And then there was some stuff that you're like, is that really indie, or is like, does that really need to be in here?
But Xbox did the same thing. They set the standard of what's going to be considered in that 3-hour show, and then what's going to be considered in their showcases.
Yeah.
And and now there's games that don't fit in either one of those showcases.
Yeah. And then PlayStation just has state of play, to where they need to figure out a way to break this stuff apart. Or just hold stuff, because nothing here I felt like that was announced was really time sensitive. Like there's a lot of this outside of Death's Door, which is coming out in like a week. There's nothing on here that I'm really like, they could have just waited till December and maybe got a big third party game ready to be in here,
to have a really cool announcement with a lot of filler and cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of like filler sounds like a bad word for these games, but that's what it was.
It definitely felt like it.
Yeah.
It's and then you imagine you're going to hold something for the Game Awards, which is why they just were like, let's get the state of play out now. We have partnership. I mean, this is good for all the people that were involved in the state of play, because they got more eyes on their stuff than they would have before. Though it also comes with the negative, where you get enough people watching, thinking there's going to be something.
What did I
big.
just watch?
Yeah.
Why did I wait? Why did I watch 20 minutes of this? Like what?
But there was definitely some interesting things. It just, I think, even with Sony setting an expectation, there needs to be a way to figure this out so people don't walk away disappointed. I had no expectations for it, so I was like, oh cool, there's a Let It Die thing and a Star Ocean thing, cool.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't state of play.
Yeah, which is why they'd probably just need to think of another brand. Like if they just do the thing where there's like Nintendo Indie World and then Nintendo Direct and then there's a specific Directs, if they can have like, here's our state of play and then here's our something, and then they just need to do one or two of each for people to figure out what they mean when that happens. Like if they can differentiate and tier their stuff without having to label things like directly as, here's our AA, here's our indie thing, that would probably help them a lot. They just need to think of a catchy brand name for all of these. And I'm not married to the state of play, moniker or whatever you want. So if it requires them to drop the state of play, I'm fine with that. But at least they had something. It just probably could have waited until they had a bigger anchor. Like this would have worked if they had a really big anchor.
Yeah.
Because then it would have made things feel like it was more worth it. But that is it for the news. But let me just go to what's delayed. And this is exactly what we were just talking about with financial reports. The Division, Heartland, and Prince of Persia have been pushed out of this fiscal year and pushed into next year's fiscal year. So they originally were supposed to be released before March 2022. And now they are going to be released before March 2023. I think they'll
be out well before that. But
yeah, except for Prince of Persia, which already had like an actual release date, and then people were like, "That game's ugly," and then they're like, "Okay, we'll try again." That one probably will be a while. But Heartland, I can totally see as like a summer game next year. But yeah, and then you said what Activision delayed some stuff today. Like I missed that.
Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4.
Okay, which makes sense because there's no one to work at Blizzard anymore to release those games.
They didn't really like formally delay them. They just said like we're anticipating this year, but it could be pushed into next year.
Yeah,
so.
And then all the Cyberpunk patches and DLC were quietly pushed to instead of like Q1 throughout. Like it was supposed to be like Q1 2022, and it got turned into just all of 2022. They'll have patches and DLC for Cyberpunk.
CD Projekt Red needs to go like 100% like radio silent until they actually have a date for something.
Yeah,
they just need to stop talking.
They just need to No Man's Sky it. No Man's Sky. Yep. That's what they did. Remember how pissed people were at
Put your head down in the sand, go to work and don't pull your head back out until you're ready to say, hey, it's out next week.
Yeah. I remember all the hate Hello Games had because remember they went super quiet. And people were like, you need to communicate things. And then when they finally brought their heads out, they were like, here's what we're working on. And people were like, okay, this is fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go away. All right. So what we're planning on watching, like I mentioned earlier, like I had the transmission blow on my car. So that caused me to be carless for like 3 days and expensive repair. So that kind of messed with some stuff. And I got a lot going on at work right now. But I did play Destiny for about 2 hours. Same problem exists in Destiny that existed like last season and 2 seasons ago for me. I'd almost say that I borderline have been dabbling the last 6 to 9 weeks. In Destiny, the Halloween event was terrible. It ended today, thankfully. And I'm at rank 100 on the season pass from just messing around. Like I said, like the story content earlier was good, and then raiding with some of the buddies and the clans that I have. But again, I'm rank 100 and I'm at the pinnacle gear score for the game, and I can't do the Grandmaster Nightfalls. Stupid. Like I still need another point of I still need to grind another level of my artifact experience to be high enough, and I'm just not wanting to do it. I want to do the Grandmaster Nightfalls, but I don't want to grind out the extra like whatever 1.5 million XP that I need or whatever the number is. I don't remember what it is. And I enjoyed like I've said for years, I love raiding with people and hanging out, playing 6-player activities, talking to your buds, hanging out, killing some stuff, finding out different ways each season to use the weapons and what's meta for that season, and having fun using that stuff. That's where Destiny shines. But when they come out in their weekly update and pretty much say like, oh yeah, November is going to be like a catch-up month for everybody, where they're like, okay, that pretty much means they don't have anything cool planned, and like this season is long. There's some 30th anniversary stuff coming out in December, which I'm sure I'll play. I 100% will play it because I'm fiending for something to do in the game. And then Witch Queen comes out in February. So they're, this is that just dull lull that I talked about 3-4 months ago that I was worried about happening with a 6-month-long season. Like, this just doesn't work. So, and again, like I said, I tried to, I wanted to play Back 4 Blood with some of the guys, and I didn't get a chance to do that because Owen wasn't feeling well. Halloween was this week. There's just a lot of stuff going on. We're having some behavior issues with Owen at school, so that's causing some challenges in terms of like lifestyle. So there's just a lot going on. So I feel really bad that I haven't really been playing a lot of games. But I'm going to try to start focusing on it. I am also going to try to start focusing. And like, I was thinking that maybe streaming would help me. Like if I try to like stream some games, hang out with you guys, play some games, and stream them to help kind of motivate me. I want it. Like I said, I want to play Back 4 Blood. I want to play Dread. I think you guys would have a great time watching me play Metroid Dread on stream. There's some interesting stuff coming to Game Pass this month. And then I bought like Devil May Cry 3 or something like that on Switch. It was like $4. I'm looking at the Crysis Remaster trilogy on Switch for a couple bucks. Just some things to kind of boost me into playing some of the games. I still want to check out Guardians, but at this point I think I might wait for a sale. Guardians of the Galaxy. I've been watching a lot of baseball, a lot of football. The Lions are just terrible. They almost beat the Rams and then they lose to the Eagles so much. Take the bus, play the Switch. I wish. Curry, do you know where I live? I'm not taking the bus in Detroit. I need to, like, to be honest with you, I need to sit down and focus on playing a video game, and I've been intrigued by the World Series. I've been intrigued by some of the football stuff going on, like Monday night games and Thursday night games and Saturday games and Sunday games. Like I just like that kind of stuff has been, super interesting to me. And I'm still working on some stuff in the house too. And then like my kids come home in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So there's like always something going on. I got to get the house ready for them. Like there's just a lot of things going on. So, but yeah, I do. I like Michael's gonna talk about a little bit. I haven't even started up Riders Republic, so I like there's a lot of cool stuff that's out right now, and I just need to force myself and motivate myself to do it. So
yeah,
that's it.
Okay, so we'll start with Riders Republic. We were able to get a review copy from Ubisoft. Thank you guys for that. This is, I guess it's like the spiritual successor for Steep. Which is like the snowboarding skiing game that Ubisoft put out a couple years ago. So this is going on that concept, but it is BMX biking, it's skiing, it's like squirrel suit jetpack thing, like air gliding. It's all of that in this open world thing that is actually one of the more fun extreme sports games that I've played in a really long time. But it has some of the worst, most cringeworthy writing and music that I just can't stand. This is definitely... they just added Apple Music to the PS5, and it's totally like I'm going to start using Apple Music over this game just because like I love playing it. Like the controls.
That means you can listen to our podcast while you play it.
Yeah, or my two other podcasts, bullspod.com and everymovieever.zone.
Look at him plugging.
So I'm enjoying everything about playing. There's like two control styles. There's like more of a racing control style, and then there's like a trickster control style. Pretty much the trickster one, it's like a fixed camera. So you're only really concerned about doing tricks, and then the racing one, you have more control over the actual camera. I've been just doing the trickster one just because it takes a little less things I have to worry about off my head while I'm playing it, but I'm enjoying it from a gameplay perspective. Everything about the variety of events and the controls for the actual biking, skiing, snowboarding, all that stuff is really fun. The open world aspect is like, it's an Ubisoft game. It looks really nice. It's an always online game, so there's just I don't know how many people they are per server, but there's a lot of people like running around this area. And then when you like pull up the world map, you just see a bunch of icons that I believe represent actual human beings just like moving around the map really fast. So enjoying that aspect. The only thing that's a little weird is when you're in a race, it's hard to tell if I am actually competing against people in real time because they come and go from my vision to where like, at least in the early going, I'm always in first place. And then I look at the final times and they show me PSN IDs and Ubisoft IDs for the cross-platform people, and I'm killing these people in times to where I'm shit at the game, but I am like dominating these people time-wise, so I'm like, they can't be real people, or there's like some asynchronous aspect to the early going, so I'm trying to still figure that portion out. But in terms of just like a world to dick around in, like it's really fun. It's just anytime the game is like, oh, here's a cutscene, is when you're just like, oh god,
you're like, oh boy.
I feel like they said shiznit like 4 or 5 times, or different variations of it, and I'm just like, please stop, like with this weird, like it's both old timey and then like trying to be new age with their like slang, and it's just not working. At one point I think
it's always super interesting with like a worldwide developer like Ubisoft of like what's relevant for in the Americas, that maybe and that's also relevant in Europe and Asia, and like it's like I would never want to try to do something like that.
It's one of those things where it's like, if in Life is Strange every time they said hella bothered you, this is that up to like 10 to where they're just constantly saying stuff you're just like, that's not how people talk, but that's, you can ignore that. It's about the gameplay, and it's actually really fun. The only time that like I almost had to like mute the TV is they were playing the music's really bad too. It was in a ukulele version of Gangster's Paradise, which totally sounds like some shit that I would probably like unironically enjoy, but it was really bad. It was just,
Not while you're snowboarding.
Yeah, I'm not listening to like a suburban Karen like playing the ukulele and singing Gangster's Paradise. Like I'm not when I'm playing this snowboarding game or whatever. It's super weird and bizarre, very questionable, but you could just use Apple Music or Spotify on your PlayStation and just cover that up because the gameplay is there. The world's beautiful because Ubisoft knows how to make an open world like that's like interesting to look at. So I'm probably going to keep playing this for a little bit. I was really into Steep, so this is like super down my alley for this type of stuff.
And I feel like that they, obviously they're going to do, Ubisoft's for sure going to do like events and updates to this game. So like they always try to grow and develop these games like long term, and they do a really good job.
Yeah, Steep
had a really, really good job. So
Steep had like a
Olympic content, right?
Yeah, it was like good 2-3 years of just like regular updates to Steep. So I imagine that, because it has a little bit more going on it than Steep did. So really enjoying that. I have finished The Forgotten City, which is the game I was talking about last week. This game snuck up on me to where it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and then me and Sarah was watching it, got into it, and we're like, I think I can finish the game right now, and then we were up until like 2 a.m.
Oh boy.
And then and she had work the next day. But The Forgotten City is like one of the best written games that I've played. We got like the canonical ending, but there's like 4 endings that are listed in the trophy. So I might go back in the future and see those other endings.
There's multiple endings. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's like a 6 to 8 hour game. So like I have a bunch of like save states that I was doing because anytime I'd make a decision, I'll just make a new save just because I wanted to kind of have a perfect run.
Whoa, it's not how I wanted it to go.
Yeah, exactly. Because your decisions, matter for the most part, and you're just trying to solve.
What were you playing that on again?
PS5, which I will say you probably want to play it on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, because there is performance issues on the PS5, which means there's probably performance issues tenfold on the PS4, because that's usually how that goes. Just because...
just real quick, too, just in case maybe somebody didn't listen last week, quick synopsis of Forgotten City.
So The Forgotten City, you find yourself in a city like during Roman times to where no one can leave the city. There's no way out. People have tried, but there's no escape. And there is basically God that has set a rule saying no one is allowed to sin. If one person sins, everyone dies. So you're stuck in a time loop trying to figure out who's going to sin and how to get out and like prevent that person from committing a sin that kills everybody, and also you just trying to get out of the city, period. So that is like the general synopsis. It deals with time loop stuff. So like if things go wrong, you can time loop out and then start the day over again. And based on what you did previously, you might have items that you can then use right away and then take care of quest lines. Because it's very important. There's certain things that you need to do in a certain order in order to get to a certain point. So if the day goes wrong, you can at least go the next day and immediately take care of the shit you need to take care of, and then continue to work on the mystery. So really fascinating. It definitely snuck up on me in terms of just like, oh shit, this might be one of my favorite games this year, just because the writing's there, and it was really entertaining. And the game has an interesting history. It started as an Elder Scrolls mod for Skyrim, and then they broke it out into its own standalone game that they rebuilt in the Unreal Engine, which is funny because it definitely still has some like broken Elder Scrolls mechanics, I feel, in this game, even though it was built in a completely different engine, but they still kept that like aesthetic that you would get from an Elder Scrolls game. So really into that. Highly recommended. I think it's like a $40 game. And again, it's like 6 to 8 hours with multiple endings. So could be one of those games when it comes out on sale during the holidays. I'd probably recommend picking it up. But even $40 isn't too bad for a PS5 game. And then the last game I played, hung out with some friends, and they had Mario Party Superstars. So played one game of Mario Party. I always enjoy Mario Party, but there's always a point where we're halfway through the game and I'm like, shit, we still have half the game to play.
Yeah.
Because they do last a long time. But this is basically, I think it's like all the N64 Mario parties, like the best of, in terms of the mini games and boards. So there's a lot of content in there. You can play this one online, up to 4 players. So pretty fun. I mean, it's Mario Party. There's only so much you can do with Mario Party, so you kind of know what you're getting. I'm interested to take this game online just because they added a annoying thing called stickers, that if you click the sticker, it gives like a little audio clip, and you could just spam that forever. And it just makes like Waluigi going wah every 2 seconds, and we're just just spamming that. And I believe you can do that online, which probably means the online is a shit show. So I need to see if you can disable the stickers, because if you can't, that would be super annoying. And sometimes the stickers will like kind of block the screen. So if you're trying to do a specific action in a game, someone could put a sticker that blocks the prices for like a store that you're trying to buy items from. So I hope you can deactivate the stickers. I'll have to look at that later to see if that is removable. But that is pretty much it for playing. Watching, I mean, I've just been watching Bulls games because of the podcast I started, and then I've been watching movies for the movie podcast in between playing games, and then just work kicking my ass. So I haven't really been watching anything outside of just like scary movies because it was Halloween week last week. But that's about it.
Okay. All right, so questions using hashtag AskDigitalDays. You can send us questions on Facebook, Twitter, Discord. All those links are in the show notes. Samunik on Twitter says, about the digital exclusivity, 1 month, etc. With your experience in retail, I'd love to know your thoughts on how this could affect retail hard copies on the shelf. GTA aside, but if it becomes a trend or the norm, then physical copies will die. Waste of shelf space, in my opinion. You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, the only negative I can really think about this is you might get less sales. It's either you're going to get less sales or you're going to get more aggressive sales. Because the retailers can play around with their pricing more than Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo are willing to play around with their prices. So it could go either way. You
definitely see like a physical copy coming out being on sale $10 cheaper because a retailer chooses to do so.
Yeah. Like I can see it to where retailers like, well, we're not going to put it on sale until like a month after the game, after we receive the game, which in this scenario would be 2 months after the game comes out. So it either means the retailer will not put it on sale often, or there's a better chance that it's going to be on sale day one because they just want to get people in the store and incentivize. They're like, hey, if you just wait a month, you'll get this game cheaper day one physically. That's the only thing I can see retail doing in retaliation.
Speaking from a business standpoint of like the thought process that goes through my head when I read this question, if I'm a developer, if I'm Sony or Microsoft, yeah, 100%, this is what I want. I want shelf space to die because I want you to buy your games on my platform. Because I make more money if you buy it digitally than if you buy it physically. But and the concern that I have is I also think that you're right, because the guy asking the question is correct in terms of like the physical copies will die or the platform itself will die depending on the success of it, aka the Vita. The Vita was the first one that came out with every single game that came out for it was digital and physical, and everybody thought that was really something like, or no, I'm sorry, every single game was digital and not every single game was physical.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there are fewer and fewer digital only things now. Like you're seeing like Kenna coming out physically eventually, like we talked about last week, and then whatever this is going on with GTA. But this is what Sony and Microsoft and EA and Activision and Ubisoft, this is what they want. They want you to buy their games digitally, or they want you to buy into their services, so that they continuously hold you. But they also don't care from the physical standpoint because the companies, the big corporations, Walmart, Myers, Target, or whatever, they buy the games because they think that their consumers, their customers will buy the games, and they pay for them up front. So they're getting the money from that as well. But I think that this is what I feel like you're going to see as in terms of a way for these studios to circumvent the system of like, okay, well, you can have it, but you just can't have it for 30 days. I think we're a year or two away from it still. But the success of the digital PlayStation 5 SKU and the success of the Series S prove that the consumers are ready for discless consoles.
Yeah, I would imagine most consumers are ready for it. We're still going to have those certain cases in the United States specifically where there's just like you're in just an internet desert. Yeah. But I think that's where things are going. At a certain point, I would just imagine, in Microsoft's case, they'll just be like, their games are day one Game Pass anyway, so they don't really care if there's a disc.
And you can download them.
Yeah, so I don't think, I think this would just mostly be like a Nintendo and a Sony thing. Because Microsoft just, what does it matter if it's physical day one or 30 days because they have Game Pass and that's enough of a incentive for consumers to just go Game Pass.
Just to be 100% clear, Microsoft would rather sell 100 subscriptions to Game Pass than 100 copies of Halo Infinite.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you come to Sony and Nintendo, I feel like Sony would have to be the one to do this with like their first party games because that's enough to get people, especially now, for them to just put that gambit, challenge retail.
Yeah. I would always be forced to buy Last of Us Part 2 because I don't want, a heavily story-driven game to be spoiled in the first 40 days before it releases physically.
Yeah, and then Nintendo just kind of lives in their own space, and I can never figure out what Nintendo would want. Nintendo seems like they would totally be like physical only because they seem so reluctant to provide good online services, but Nintendo's also super brutal with their digital stores in terms of like, oh, we killed support. Oh, you can't transfer your saves from one switch to the other without going through this convoluted system. So, like, I'm not too sure what Nintendo would do, but I can see Sony, depending on how serious Jim Ryan is about this, like, he wants to reach hundreds of millions of people, then Jim Ryan needs physical copies of a game. But this definitely, like, next generation or halfway through this generation is going to be very indicative on where things go. But
Sony's going to release a first-party exclusive studio game that is digital only.
Yeah, most likely they will do it, especially as they gain more studios that are kind of making those mid-level games.
Yeah. I almost think it'll be a Lost Legacy Miles Morales style game that does it.
Yeah, like a Lost Legacy type game. Probably not their Marvel stuff because I guarantee there's a Marvel like clause in there. But I could totally see like there's rumors that Sly Cooper game's in development. I can totally see the next Sly Cooper game being digital only. As just an experiment of just what they're going to do. Or like the next Little Big Planet game.
Or even like digital only for like a year. And then like, oh, we're going to bring out the collection with the second version of the game and you can get the first one on disc now too.
Yeah, kind of what you see with indie games, where indie games don't come out physically day one, but like 6 months after they release, they end up signing like a physical deal with someone.
Yep. All right, next question comes from Randy. With Ghost Recon Breakpoint coming out with a new single-player content on 11.2, I didn't even know about it, called Motherland, this prompted a question. This is a game that's been out for a while and did not do very well. That's why I don't know that there's more stuff coming out. Ubisoft is obviously investing in it, but I'm not sure how they're making money on it. They are giving away this DLC, so how are they recouping the cost of this? How do you think Ubisoft is making money on the Motherland expansion? They are making money on releasing this expansion for free by making the community happy and praying to God that they buy their next game.
That, and I'm sure there's some data they can collect, but that's my joke for every time. But also they're making the money through their Amazon partnership for their games. Their Stadia partnership probably still brings money in. So instead of developing full-blown games for these partnerships, it's like, oh, here's an expansion. So it's like a whole new experience for players that they can possibly add to
And there's
it.
microtransactions too.
Yeah, because
not 100% for sure how crazy the microtransactions are in Breakpoint.
there were boosters, right? In Breakpoint, wasn't it the controversy?
I don't know.
I remember Breakpoint having something, or I might be thinking of. No, I'm thinking of Breakpoint. Which one had the guy with the dog? From
Far Cry.
No. With the guy from The Walking Dead, where he was on stage with his dog. Was that Breakpoint?
Yeah. The Punisher character.
Yeah, the Punisher guy.
Yeah.
That was Breakpoint. Yeah.
Yes, it is Breakpoint.
Yeah,
so,
I'm pretty sure it's like boosters and costumes and stuff. But it's most likely at this point Goodwill. because that game had such a rough patch.
Or they're getting ready to do something else, and they want to make sure that the vibes around the Ghost Recon franchise are good.
Yeah.
They don't want them to be bad. And it's whether we like it or don't like it, I'd have to look at the data. But a lot of times, any Ghost Recon or Tom Clancy game when it comes out, I feel like it's in the top 20 by the end of the year for year to date sales for a game. Like similar to like Far Cry is always in the top 10. Whatever year a Far Cry game comes out, it's always in the top 10 best selling games.
And then you remember it came out that year, and you're like, oh shit, it was number 8.
Yeah, and again, 100% part of it is what you listed. It's on every single platform, and it's brothers. Mm-hmm. It's on PC. It's on the Ubisoft store. It's on Stadia. It's on. It's not on Switch, but it's on PS4, PS5. What is the
Amazon one called? Amazon Luna. Like it could definitely be something where Ubisoft points to Amazon, like, oh, see, this investment was good. Like 5 more people are playing on Luna because the DLC came out.
So, but I mean, these games, they do well. Like even when they don't, the player base isn't there. The financials of the games do well.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I have no idea why, but it does. So, and the last question from Branham in Discord: have you ever mixed 2 cereals together? I think he posted a picture of Frosted Mini Wheats and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Maybe? I think so. I think that's what that was.
The first thing I saw in that picture is, Branham, you don't have enough milk in your cereal, but.
I never have.
Go ahead.
I hate cereal, and the idea of having 2 different brands of cereal. This means it's too rich for my blood.
How do you hate cereal? All cereal?
I used to have Corn Pops when I was a kid. The idea of Corn Pops disgusts me now. Fruity Pebbles is okay. But like the idea of drinking that Fruity Pebble milk just kind of disgusts me right now.
So don't drink it.
It's just what it all just turns into. Yeah, and I don't like cereal. I'm not really a breakfast person. Like, I can't actually eat until I've been up for a couple hours.
Okay, you can have cereal at like 9 o'clock at night. That's okay. That's an acceptable thing.
No, I'm not a stoner, Dave. I'm not a stoner.
Oh my God.
Now we know what Dave is up to. He's just getting high, eating cereal, not playing video games.
I can't remember like purposely mixing cereal. But with the essentially cereal has mixed itself now with some of the different partnerships and stuff that they have with all this stuff.
Have you ever like mixed chips, like bags of chips?
No.
Okay, I don't do that either. Okay. I remember horrible people doing that where they'd like take different Doritos.
I guess the closest thing that I would eat to like what would be considered like mixed chips is like Chex Mix.
Oh, those are disgusting. That's basically.
I hate you. Like you're terrible. Like really?
Yeah.
Like you don't like cereal. You don't like Chex Mix. You don't like mashed potatoes.
No. Next thing you're gonna be like, oh, do you like pretzels? And fuck no, pretzels are disgusting.
Oh my God.
I think we've had this discussion. If you ever offer me pretzels, like you're just asking me to leave your house.
Dude, I'm totally sending you some stuff to your house. Like, I'm sending you a care package with
and
cereal.
And you will see that video come back of me just throwing it in the garbage. Not even offering it to like people I know would probably eat it. I'm just like, no, I'm sorry. Make a bonfire of.
Oh my God.
What are Rice Krispies a thing that for cereal? Like those suck.
Wait. Okay, so yeah, Rice Krispies, like Snap Crackle Pop cereal, like in general, is probably terrible. Yeah. But like, do you not like Rice Krispie treats?
No, those are trash food. Like those have like no taste. They're styrofoam. Like styrofoam with like nuts or something. What the fuck is that? Like no one wants that. It's like I only ever see it on baking shows when people are using it to form cool things. But I don't know what would be more tragic than me thinking I'm going to eat a cake and I cut into it and it's a fucking Rice Krispie treat.
Wyatt, what do you like?
Good shit, like Wyatt. Yeah, pretzels suck too. Pretzels are the fucking worst.
Oh my God.
Like a soft pretzel is fine, but a bag of fucking pretzels? Like, Jesus. Like, disgusting.
Like, so you don't like just like rolled gold, like twisted pretzels?
Are those like the little tiny ones that are like hard pretzels or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, garbage. I don't know why people get so like shocked and offended when I'm like, oh, pretzels are garbage. And it's just like, what?
Because I don't know what you eat.
Regular chips.
What is that?
Like fucking tortilla chips.
Plain?
Yeah, like plain tortilla chips are pretty good.
So you just eat tortilla chips, like just open the bag and just eat them plain?
Yeah, I could do that. Those are good. The salt is really good. Depending on like the shape and size of them, they're pretty damn good. I mean, you get cheese and that's fine, or salsa, that's fine too. But you could just give me a bag of like tortilla chips. Like if I'm at your house and you give me a bag of tortilla chips, I'm like, this man respects me, and then I'll have that. But you give me pretzels, I take that as like a threat that you're like, I hope you choke on this, sort of thing. So, yeah, no, pretzels are fucking trash.
Okay.
Yeah. It's suburban food.
Please send more suburban food.
Yeah.
Oh
fucking enjoy your
please
bag of pretzels at your
questions.
Applebee's bullshit or whatever the fuck. Go to Chili's for dinner, fucker. Like Jesus. Ugh.
What? I have food at my house, sir, but apparently nothing that you want to eat.
No, you live in the suburbs apparently.
It's better than the city.
we have food here. We have snacks. So when you go to a convenience store on the corner, they never just have like, oh, here's like 10 different types of pretzels. They're like, no, here's a bunch of different chips. And there's like one style of pretzel. And it's garbage because it's that rolled rose gold or rolled gold bullshit.
Do you like combos?
So I never see combos in. Emra's the one who gave me combos for the first time. Combos don't really exist in Chicago. So I've only had combos when Emra couldn't finish a bag of combos at E3, and it was.
What did you think?
It was okay. I wasn't like.
What's a pretzel, by the way?
No, it had something.
It depends on the type of combo. I guess. Yeah, like not all of them are pretzels.
It wasn't a pretzel.
Some of them can be crackers. Some of them can be Yeah. But essentially, it's a rolled hard surface with something inside of it.
It wasn't pretzels. I wouldn't have taken it. I would have again taken that as a threat.
Okay. All right. Please send it legitimately. Let's send more food questions in. Like this is.
I mean, if you want to do a stream where we just tier snack food, we totally could do that.
I don't think we would have a show anymore.
I think people would come around to my ideas and realize that they're eating garbage. Like, can you imagine? You're like, oh man, I really want a snack when I'm playing a video game, and you put out a bowl of pretzels. Like, what the fuck do you eat pretzels with? Water? Just like, oh, I'm just fucking. No. People that do pretzels probably do warm glass of milk or some weird shit.
No.
Yeah.
But what do you? What do you eat while you play games then?
I try not to eat when I play games.
I know typically you don't. I try not to either.
I mean,
unless I'm eating something that's like with like a fork or like a fork.
I mean, if we're talking chips, we're probably talking about like a tortilla chip or something like that, like a Tostitos, just plain. Maybe a Dorito flavor.
But like, what kind of Dorito? Like, you just do regular like.
So like, I get different reactions to each type. So like, the nacho cheese one like just fucks up my taste buds where I can't taste anything after a nacho cheese. Then the Cool Ranch are fine, but like you can't taste like that your mouth palate is just messed up. You're just going to taste Doritos for the rest of your day. You have to like Listerine after.
So you said Tostitos and Doritos.
Yeah. Maybe some Cheetos. Depending, like the puffs, not the regular like hot chip ones, but like the puffs, those are fine. Popcorn's okay. Popcorn.
What kind of popcorn?
What the fuck do you mean? What kind of popcorn? Popcorn.
Like what type of salt, or is it microwave popcorn or air pop popcorn or like bag popcorn?
Yeah, there's only microwave popcorn. Though I'm in Chicago.
No, there's not only microwave.
I'm in
popcorn.
Chicago, and there's like the popcorn that's like the code popcorn. I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a cookie person, not a chip person.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of cookie?
A little bit everything, like chocolate chip, Oreos. That's fine. I won't do raisin. I don't do peanut butter.
Oh my!
Because peanut butter is disgusting.
Oh my god! I'm sending you 100%. Angela, order him the biggest bag of peanut butter filled pretzels that you can find and send it to his house.
The pit bull downstairs is gonna love it. I'm just gonna give that to him.
Because there's pretzels with peanut butter inside of them, right?
Why would you do that?
Because it's delicious.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Oh my god.
I very much doubt it.
All right. Send us more food questions if you want. This could be like another segment for us for a while, but you can send other questions using hashtag AskDigitalDays.
My tier list is like S tier, A tier, suburb tier. Like that. That's just how I rate things.
Jeez. So Spotlight, our Patreon episode, our $7 Patreon episode for October posted. Michael made me watch anime.
They've liked
I
anime.
watched 3 animes. Yes. Death Note was one of them. Full Metal Alchemist. Brotherhood was the other one. And Honor High.
Or on High School Host Club.
Or on High School Host Club. So those are the 3 that we talked about in depth for about 45 minutes, I think, on the Patreon. So if you're interested in that, it just costs you $7. But with that $7, you get to support us as well as get like 15 other episodes that we did. So you get access to all those as well. There's also like you get access to the $5 tier with the $7 tier. $5 tier is the podcast episode 24 hours early. And then $3 is the private Discord server, and $1 is just the virtual tip jar. So thank you to those who've already supported us on Patreon. If you're interested in supporting us on Patreon, that's super helpful. Patreon.com/digitaldaysgaming. Check it out. And other than that, the main account for social media, Twitter, is @DigitalDaysPod. Michael's is @TheFirstMJC. Send him a bunch of peanut butter pictures.
I'm blocking.
Mine is @GoodDaveHunt. And as well as the show notes. In the show notes, there's links to the Facebook group, the Discord server, and all of our Twitter profiles, as well as Curry Master's Extra Life page. Roy Gibbs for Extra Life, he's doing that this weekend. So when you're listening to this, I believe he's doing it on November 6th. So the link to that will be in the show notes to possibly donate to him, as well as even if I got to talk to him or message him about streaming and see if he has any questions about streaming. But I would just love to see him stream just so that people could just pop in and say hi. That sometimes helps keep people going. I know it used to help keep me going a lot. Even when I do stream, just somebody popping in, just talking to me, even if for like 2 minutes, kind of just gives you like a little quick influx of energy. So if you do stream, Curry, let us know, and we'll make sure to I'll at least personally make sure to check in on you a couple times while you're doing that. So other than that, you got anything else, Michael?
Nope, nothing.
Right. Everybody, hope you guys have a great week and keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. Pretzels are an abomination.